Hi everyone, my name is Shalisia Glasford. I am a proud hospitality professional and I started my educational journey over at the Clarence Fitzroy Bryant on St. Kitts. I then went over to Switzerland where I studied at the Cesarewitz Colleges and Washington State University, and just recently I completed my last certificate at the Le Roche Marbella, Spain campus. I am so privileged and honored to have been able to study and work in so many different parts of the world. But one of the greatest joys that I have is to be able to hone that knowledge outside and bring it right here to my island, Nevis. Being able to impact my knowledge, my expertise, and my education to my peers and my colleagues every day makes me feel very proud that I'm really contributing to our tourism product here on Nevis. Looking ahead, I see the future of Nevis and the future of my career evolving together in perfect harmony. I envision Nevis becoming a true luxury destination, and I believe that I would be able to advance Nevis together in that direction. There are so many different rewards that I gain every single day from building my life here on Nevis and my career here on Nevis. First of all, I have an opportunity every day to wake up passionately to do something that I love. Not only do I get to do something that I love, but I get to do that with other Nevisians, and we both love it together as we all try to serve our guests in the best way possible to help to advance our tourism product.
Hi, my name is Anthony Gager. I'm the operations manager at Trident Trust Nevis, formerly known as Morningstar Holdings, and I traveled abroad to study at the University of New Haven in Connecticut, where I attained my bachelor's degree in business management. I was always inspired by local business people, whether they were entrepreneurs, whether they were a part of an established company and they rise through the ranks of that company. And I always paid attention to their success over time. And I always challenged myself and always reminded myself that that could be me one day. Unique opportunities that exist in Nevis that may actually surprise others, I believe, are the amount of leadership opportunities that exist. Leadership often also comes in the form of taking initiative, offering solutions, and executing ideas within your community or within the company that you work for. We must remind ourselves that things are great now, but we're definitely going to get older at some point in time. So are your current habits contributing to the life you wish to live that would put you in a position to look after your family that you may have one day, or to look after your parents when that time comes? You don't need to leave Nevis to live meaningfully. You just need vision, discipline, and a willingness to adapt and grow.
Hi everyone, my name is Michelle Slack-Clark. I completed my primary and secondary level education right here on the island of Nevis. I attained my Bachelor's of Laws degree from the University of the West Indies in Bridgetown, Barbados, and my legal education certificate, LEC, from the Norman Manley Law School in Kingston, Jamaica. I then obtained a Master of Laws degree from the School of Advanced Study, University of London. In my practice as an attorney at law, I have the opportunity and ability to assist persons with various issues that they may be dealing with, to contribute to the development of a regional jurisprudence, and to feel a sense of fulfillment in seeing a project through from the beginning to completion. As President of the Assembly, there is an undeniable significant impact that my work has on the development of our democracy, the proper functioning of our parliamentary process, and generally how our government and country is run. The best part about building my career here on the island of Nevis is that I get the best of both worlds. So you have your work obligations and you're able to do what you have to do in the presence of all the friends and families you grew up with and that you were surrounded by throughout your life.
Hi, my name is Katherine Cbrooks-Wilkinson and I traveled abroad to study education at the University of the Virgin Islands. One of the major challenges that I have faced in trying to establish myself as a leader is youth. I know that some might say when you're young you have a lot to contribute, and with youth come new experiences and new opportunities. But as a young person, there's a fine line between establishing yourself as a young leader and gaining the respect of the persons that you do lead. Being from the island of Nevis, I'm exposed to best of both worlds. How do I balance professional growth and island living? Simple, stay grounded with family as well as community. The most rewarding aspect of building a life and career here on the island of Nevis is being in close proximity to the persons who matter the most. Your parents, your family members, the persons who silently support you, as well as the parents of the students that you interact with, as well as the students that you see on a day-to-day basis. That's the proudest thing for me.
Hello there, my name is Chenille Ski and I attained my primary and secondary education right here on the beautiful island of Nevis. I then relocated to North Carolina where I attended the illustrious North Carolina Central University and obtained a Bachelor's of Arts in Human Resource Management. So recently I got the opportunity to attain a Train the Trainer certification through UE that was funded by CDB. So I'm now certified to train micro, small and medium-sized businesses on customer service. So my advice to young Nevisians is to look around and assess what the island needs, because right now we have a profession and skills gap. So once you tailor your studies around that, you'll put yourself in demand where you'll be able to build a successful career. Yes, leaving the island gives you experience because that's what I did. However, it's always best to, after you've gained that insight and that knowledge and that experience, to come back and add value to the island. So moving back home, a benefit of that has definitely been able to be closer to my immediate family and loved ones, but also I have grown professionally while relocating to Nevis, and I get to see real life impact and change and see the change that my expertise and knowledge has made on individuals and organizations, whether it's through training or mentorship.
Welcome to On the Rocks. Welcome. Welcome.
Thank you. So this On the Rocks has been open for how long?
Well, we opened here since in July last year. The bar was open and then the restaurant came into full swing in August, around the 15th of August.
But I think you have one of the best locations on the island.
Definitely, and I mean, you know me well. COVID sent me into retirement, you know. But when I recognized the view that my brother have here, I said, man, I have to come and help him.
Of course.
You know, because this view alone is to die for.
How is it you're assisting now in training some of the youngsters and bringing them along?
It's tough work, you know, but I'm not going to give up. And that's what it's all about. It's just to get them into the service mood. Right. Service-wise is very important, you know, and I'm working hard on them for them to realize that.
Well, this On the Rocks, I mean, I like it because it connects very closely with what is happening at the water taxi. And so people can come here, they can see the boats go back and forth.
I can tell you, it's such a view, right? And we have a lot of people that have friends, families, whether they're going or coming. You should see them waving when they see the folks coming up. Either when they waving goodbye or welcoming them.
That's part to welcome and greet.
It is.
Hi, Fabiola. How are you doing?
Splendid.
Yeah?
Thank you.
Ahead. Thank you for having us. So we wanted to get a sense from you, Fabi, as to how things were going and what services you offer, because part of what we're doing is also helping to promote these small businesses.
Fabulous Feelings Integrated Health and Therapy Center. So the word integrated speaks volume. We integrate spa services, physiotherapy, and health coaches. So I'm a health coach practitioner, a spa therapist, and a physiotherapist all in one.
You seem very knowledgeable of all of what you've just explained in terms of your business and so on.
First started here with the massage therapy. So I branched off to in England. I did my remedial massage in England, and the rest is in the US.
Oh, wow. It's fantastic. This looks even better than when you opened it, you know?
Yes,
it's like, you made improvements.
yes.
Well, thank you very, very much. And we are happy, we feel invested. This is a part of a demonstration of the efforts that we continue to make. And we wish you every success.
Well, welcome to Island Flavors. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. My name is Brendan. I'm a supervisor in training, so this is my first day. But I must say, since I've been here, this is one unique company. It's something that is a small business, but gives back to the community. We have Juicy Patties, which is a staple, you know. Like I said, we serve the community. We are very popular, and people love what we do, and we hope we can continue to thrive and grow and be a part of the community. A place where you can come and have some nice comfort food for your stomach, have a drink and leave, you know? I would definitely recommend, my favorite is the chicken and cheese.
Chicken and cheese.
Chicken and cheese.
You have beef?
We have beef.
I'll have the beef.
I'll have the beef as well. Please enjoy.
Good morning. Welcome to Chenille Blends.
Hey, morning.
Good morning.
Tell us how long this business has been around.
The business has been around year-end 2019, and then we had COVID. So it was closed for approximately a year, and then 2021 we started up again. But in that time when it was closed, we started to go into farming.
What was your inspiration to get into smoothies? I guess you want people to look as nice and young as you do.
I used to eat meat, and then it broke out my face and it caused some gut problems. So I decided, you know what? I don't want to eat meat. I want to have nutrition inside of my body. So I just started to drink smoothies at home 3 times a day. Then I thought of it and said, let me open up a smoothie bar.
How has the small business environment been for you in terms of, you know, your business and what you're trying to do here?
But I would say when it comes to the agriculture sector, it has helped extremely. I must give thanks to Banky. He gave me a real good hand and some drip irrigation system and so forth. So in that aspect, he helped greatly.
Keisha, it was absolutely a pleasure being here. We are so impressed with what you're doing. The watermelon we just sampled was very sweet, very refreshing. It's definitely from farm to blender. We are growing Nevis together.
Ciao.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Welcome.
Morning.
Morning. Thanks for
Morning.
having us.
Morning, sir. How are you doing?
I'm good.
Nice to be
Just
here.
want to welcome you guys to A1 Farms. We started here in 2010 when we went commercial. And when you come here, you realize that everything here is fresh, tasty, and ready for the market. So the technology really has improved our output big time. And so it's work in progress, really. Every year we try to improve on the last year and try to correct where we went wrong and keep going. Inside here, this is what we call our cucumber house. This was the 3rd greenhouse that we built, and this was built back in 2017.
So you just do cucumbers here?
Cucumbers, lettuce, tomatoes, peppers, kale, cilantro, you know, more of the fast-growing cash crops. We really don't have trained technicians in the greenhouse production area. So that has been in itself one of my biggest challenges. If you look into this greenhouse, just as you see me here, I mean, I'm not as sharp as the premier or the deputy premier, but I could work in this environment and not get real dirty. It's a sexy profession. There's money to be made, lots of money to be made. And with the right training, you could make a good career and a good living from agriculture.
Good morning. Welcome to the Spring Cafe. My name is Alison Smith-Mason.
So Alison, thank you for having us here. We're going around and we're having a conversation with small business people to just get a sense from them as to how things are going.
So at the Spring Cafe, we're trying to link the wellness with the hot springs, the benefit of the hot springs by eating healthy and clean. So we're basically offering everything here that is clean and healthy. The pumpkin muffins, we do have cranberries, pumpkin seeds inside, we have flaxseed, coconut drops. We reduce all the stuff that we make. The sugars are reduced. So today I have for you a sample, and you're now the first one to get my branded label on your items. So the parfait is basically a citrus coconut parfait. It's a vanilla flavored, and it's a berry granola. And then it's topped with another layer of yogurt with fresh berries, pumpkin seeds, pine nuts, sesame seeds, toasted coconut. Or I also have sunrise smoothie. So this is orange juice, frozen mango, moringa, flaxseed, oats, banana, and blended with some ice.
Just this alone can be my breakfast, you know?
Yes.
Well, I love the labeling. Yes. And I love the improvements that I'm seeing here. Great to have you here.
Hi everyone, my name is Shalisia Glasford. I am a proud hospitality professional and I started my educational journey over at the Clarence Fitzroy Bryant on St. Kitts. I then went over to Switzerland where I studied at the Cesarewitz Colleges and Washington State University, and just recently I completed my last certificate at the Le Roche Marbella, Spain campus. I am so privileged and honored to have been able to study and work in so many different parts of the world. But one of the greatest joys that I have is to be able to hone that knowledge outside and bring it right here to my island, Nevis. Being able to impact my knowledge, my expertise, and my education to my peers and my colleagues every day makes me feel very proud that I'm really contributing to our tourism product here on Nevis. Looking ahead, I see the future of Nevis and the future of my career evolving together in perfect harmony. I envision Nevis becoming a true luxury destination, and I believe that I would be able to advance Nevis together in that direction. There are so many different rewards that I gain every single day from building my life here on Nevis and my career here on Nevis. First of all, I have an opportunity every day to wake up passionately to do something that I love. Not only do I get to do something that I love, but I get to do that with other Nevisians, and we both love it together as we all try to serve our guests in the best way possible to help to advance our tourism product.
Hi, my name is Anthony Gager. I'm the operations manager at Trident Trust Nevis, formerly known as Morningstar Holdings, and I traveled abroad to study at the University of New Haven in Connecticut, where I attained my bachelor's degree in business management. I was always inspired by local business people, whether they were entrepreneurs, whether they were
CCM-led Nevis Island Administration. Good evening to all of you watching and listening to us online and on VON radio at this time. We apologize for the late start due to technical difficulties beyond our control. Joining me at the head table this evening, our Premier, the Honorable Mark A.G. Brantley. Next to him is Deputy Premier and Area Representative, the Honorable Eric Evelyn. And to my far right is the Honorable Troy Liburd. I would like to acknowledge at this time the presence of the Honorable Spencer Brand and of course the Honorable Janet Nisbet. I would also like to acknowledge the presence of the Honorable Alexis Jeffers and say a good night to all of you, and I hope you come prepared with your questions for tonight's town hall meeting. The format for this evening's town hall meeting is as follows. Each of the cabinet members at the head table will have 5 minutes to make their opening remarks, except for the Premier, of course. He's allowed 10 minutes if he so desires. Following that, members of the cabinet will be happy to take your questions from the floor and those of you who are listening to us online. For those of you who are listening to us online, you can send your questions to Facebook, www.facebook.com, or YouTube. Our first presenter for this evening is the Honorable Troy Liburd, Minister of Education. Honorable Liburd.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Scarborough, and a pleasant good evening to all who have come here to Hanley's Road this evening. I am certainly happy to be here. My mother always told me that her mom was from Hanley's Road, so people of Hanley's Road are my people, so I'm always happy to be with you here. To give a brief of what's been going on in my particular ministry, I want to start off by speaking just a little bit about something that transpired today. Today we had the semifinals of the Renarco Morton Primary School Cricket Competition, and Renarco Morton, as you all know, was somebody from right here in Gingerland who went to primary and secondary school in Gingerland and went on to play for the West Indies team. He has tragically passed away since that, God rest his soul. But we remember his contribution. So today we had the semi-final game being played between the Charlestown Primary School and the Ivor Walters Primary School. The Ivor Walters Primary School came out the victor in that game. And then, so that means tomorrow we are going to have the grand final of the primary school cricket tournament. And that will be between the Maud Cross Preparatory School and the Ivor Walters Primary School. And this is going to be held at the Ramsbury Playing Field tomorrow afternoon at 3 p.m. So that means the game is going to continue throughout the afternoon when most persons are out from work. So I want to encourage persons from the general public, if you can, to come out and support our young cricketers. And I want Nevis to know that this tournament is a one-of-a-kind tournament in the region. While we have other primary school individuals playing cricket in the region, they're not playing hardball cricket. So what is unique to Nevis is that our primary school cricket competition is a hardball competition, and it is one of a kind. So I want everybody to come out and support our young people. As we would all be aware, the Ministry of Education, we have been pushing and going hard into including technology in the work that we are doing here on Nevis. And as part of that adaptation and implementation of technology, I'm happy to say again that just recently we were able to deliver some 1,500 devices to students here on the island of Nevis. And of course, a big part of this would have been giving devices to students right here in the Gingerland area. The Joycelyn Liburd Primary School, they would have gotten 191 tablets, and the Gingerland Secondary School, they would have already gotten 157 devices. In the case of the high school, what we did was to give out the devices from first to third form, and they would have gotten what we call Chromebooks. Now, come September, we're going to be giving some more devices to our secondary school students, and they're going to be getting full-blown tablets. So these tablets, full-blown laptop computers. So these laptop computers would be for the fourth form and and fifth formers. So, and we are really on a push to include as much technology as possible in our schools. And we also know that a big part of implementing technology in our schools is to ensure that our teachers, that they are able to utilize technology. So as part of the distribution of devices, our teachers will also be getting devices. Some devices have already gone to the teachers, and some are still being provisioned to go to the teachers. You see, these tablets, we're not just giving them the tablets just like that. We are provisioning the tablets with various different software applications and so on. And so therefore, that is taking a little bit of time. So our teachers will soon be getting the devices in the cases of those who haven't received them already. And so we want to ensure that our implementation of technology is done in a manner that is safe. We want our children to be able to access the internet and to use the things such as AI and all of the other things that we're hearing about in the world, but we want them to be able to do it in a manner that is safe. So we not only want to give them the tablets and the technology instruments, but we want to teach them how to use them. As part of our thrust into that, as you know, we are coming to the end of this school year. We are about to embark on a training program for some of our teachers. In fact, we have something that we want to start doing. I think it begins next week. And of course, this is something that is going to be voluntary. It's not mandatory, where we are putting it out there for our teachers, those who are interested, that they can come and learn how to use Microsoft Office. So we are having a training course, which is 1 week early in July, and then of course we give them a break, and then we come back in August and we do another week. So I think we're going to be doing things like Microsoft Word and so on in the first instance, and then for the second week we come back and we do the Microsoft Excel. Also in education, we have not just been all about technology, but we have been about improving the whole classroom experience. And a big part of that is the introduction of new furniture into our schools. Recently, the Ministry of Education was the recipient of a large grant from the Winsong Foundation. We received, I think, somewhere close to 11 or 1,200 desks and 11 or 1,200 chairs, somewhere in between there we got. And we have started the rollout of those desks and chairs to our schools all around the island already. What we did was to put out to our schools to see what the needs were, what the immediate needs were, and we tried to fill those areas that had the more dire needs first. So since we're here in Gingerland, at the Gingerland Secondary School, we would have taken out chairs and desks to that school immediately. The first two schools to receive were the two secondary schools here on Nevis, and then we started the distribution into our primary schools. Oddly enough, the Joycelyn Library Primary has not gotten any furniture as yet, and I guess that is due to the fact that at Joycelyn Library they have been very, very careful with the way how they utilize their furniture and so on. And so there was not that dire need during the term. But over the summer, we are going to be looking now to change out some of the older furniture and to bring some of those new furniture that we got to the Joycelyn Library Primary School. And if you hear me saying Gingerland Primary, it's because I went there, and so it's in me to say that. But the correct name is Joycelyn Library Primary. So quite a lot is going on in education, and over this summer, of course, we will be looking to do some repairs to our school plants where we need those repairs done, because at the core of education, we want to make sure that the environments that where our students are coming and where our teachers have to go and spend the day and teach all day. We want to ensure that the environs are the best that they could possibly be. We want to ensure that our students are in an area that we could say it is very safe. And in speaking about upgrades, and here in Gingerland, I mean, a few things come to mind immediately. If we look at the Gingerland preschool, the Gingerland preschool would have received some significant upgrades under this government. I think a few years ago we expanded the school, we added an entire new section, and we redid the entire roof of the school. I know I have received some inquiries about the fencing for the school, and we had dispatched the maintenance team from the Ministry of Education to go to the school. So that is something that is on the dock to be done. Of course, there are other things that we would want to do at the Joycelyn Library Primary. In the past, we have done quite a lot of upgrades to that school and the secondary school. Of course, I could think of the TVET wing. You know, immediately as you pass the Gingerland Secondary School, you will see the TVET wing. That is something that you have to see. My time is just about running close. I wanted to say something about sports, but I guess when the questions come back. So, Chair, I want to pass back over to you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Troy Liburd. I want to acknowledge at this time the presence of the Honorable Latoya Jones. Now we go to the Honorable Eric Evelyn, Area Representative.
Thank you very much, Mr. Scarborough, and let me say good evening to everyone. Let me acknowledge the Premier and the Honorable Troy Liburd here at the head table, and of course the other cabinet members and the Honorable Alexis Jefferson and the Honorable Latoya Jones as well. And all of you who are here, we are indeed delighted to have you right here in the heart of Hanley's Road, my hometown. I grew up just a stone throw away from this center, so it's always good to be here at the Charles Walters Community Center here in Hanley's Road. And of course we're here this evening because we are having this series of town hall meetings, and this is the fourth in the series. We're here at Hanley's Road. This is St. George's turn, and of course on Sunday we'll be in the heart of Charlestown for the fifth and final one in this round. In terms of what I'm going to discuss this evening, I just wanted to just piggyback on some of what Minister Liburd was saying. I know education is not part of my ministry, but I just wanted to highlight a little bit more the work that has been done at the Gingerland Secondary School, because of course we have realized over the past years that we've had some excellent results, overseas exam results, coming out of the Gingerland Secondary School, and we should all be proud of those results. And I believe that one of the reasons why we've had such excellent results coming from the Gingerland Secondary School is because of the environment that has been created there at that school. Of course, the Ministry of Education ought to work diligently to ensure that our students who attend the Gingerland Secondary School are comfortable and they have a good environment in which to learn. And so there has been a lot of work that has been done at the Gingerland Secondary School, and I must give kudos and commendation to the Ministry and the Department of Education. We have done a whole new wing for the principal's office. There has been a lot of work done in terms of refurbishment of the classrooms. There have been new toilets installed at the Gingerland Secondary School. There have been a lot of work done in that area close to Best Buy, which was formerly Remedial. There have been work done on the computer center. And of course, Minister Liburd just briefly mentioned the TVET building. Of course, in the past, we've had a lot of focus on academics, but more recently, it is important now that we also focus on vocational skills. And so this administration is trying its utmost to have more focus on the TVET. And we are happy that here in Gingerland, at the Gingerland Secondary School, we have started the ball rolling. There will be a wing that will be built at the Charlestown Secondary as well. But of course, those of us who pass the Gingerland Secondary School would realize there's a nice spanking new wing there. That is the TVET Center where vocational skills are being taught. Of course, there has been a lot of improvements to the fencing, and so the aesthetics of the school has been enhanced tremendously. And I must say that those of us who attended the Gingerland Secondary School ought to be proud in terms of how the school is looking. When I look at the Gingerland Secondary School now, it looks like a university campus. I'm serious, it looks like a university campus. And as a graduate of that school, I am very proud to see where that school has come. And as I said, I believe part of the reason why we've been getting such great results is because of the improvements and the good learning environment that has been created at that school. Now, I'm going to focus primarily on St. George constituency in my brief presentation. So I've looked a little bit about at education. I'm going to look a little bit at agriculture now. And I must say as well that this is an administration that is very serious about food security and food sovereignty. And we have been doing a lot in terms of agriculture and ensuring that our farmers get the necessary support that they require to at least advance their trade. I'm sure we would all recall that during the COVID-19 pandemic in particular, that this administration would have pumped a lot of money into the agricultural sector. And our farmers and our backyard gardeners would have received tremendous support from the administration. When we speak, we often say that we don't think there's any other island in the region that would have provided the kind of support that the Nevis Island administration provided, bearing in mind that we have scarce resources here on the island of Nevis. And because we are so serious about agriculture as well, even prior to the COVID-19 pandemic, right here in Indian Castle, we would have transformed an area at Indian Castle, 35 acres, and we now have a wonderful fruit orchard. Now, those of us who are from the Hanley Road area would know that Indian Castle is one of the driest areas on the island, one of the driest areas on the island. And even though it is one of the driest areas on the island, we have been able to transform 35 acres of land at Indian Castle into a fruit orchard. A part of that fruit orchard, we have 5,000 coconut plants, and I must give kudos and commendation to the Honorable Alexis Jeffers. He's the one who would have instituted that project. That was his brainchild, and I must give kudos and commendation to him. So apart from the fact that we have all of these coconut plants, we have all varieties of fruit trees, and I must say that that is something that I am very proud of, that is something the administration is proud of, and that is something that all of Nevis should be very proud of. And because we have this wonderful orchard at Indian Castle, that orchard is now home to numerous visits from primary and secondary schools, from numerous groups, and we were able to facilitate part of the Mango Festival for the past couple of years. And so this is some place that people love to visit. It is a must visit, even for persons who come from overseas. And I know I've spoken to persons who have come from overseas, have gone to Indian Castle, and have been very pleased with what they see there in terms of the orchard. And so that is a development that in Gingerland that we ought to be proud of, and it shows that this administration, as I said, is very serious about food security. We continue to focus on food security, and we continue to put resources behind our food security efforts. Moving quickly now to the area of housing. And I am going to borrow a term from the Premier of Nevis, and I would say that Nevis has been witnessing a housing revolution. And what we have been witnessing on Nevis, across all constituencies on the island, is nothing short of a housing revolution. And I'm proud to say that St. George's Parish is very much a part of that housing revolution. I know in the recent past, there was not much going on in terms of housing in Gingerland, but I'm very proud to say that in the past couple of years, that housing revolution has been reinstituted here on Nevis. I know prior to the project, the development at Rice's. The last one would have been at New River. But we were happy that we were able to do a small housing development, but a housing development that has been very impactful in the Rice's area, right here in the Hanley Road area. Now, through our efforts, through the efforts of the administration, we were able to purchase a little under 2 acres of land at Rice's, and we were able to have 8 houses constructed there. Well, they are still in the process of constructing the homes. But as I said, the homes are very impactful because of the 8 homes that have been constructed at Rice's Village, 7 of the homeowners are single mothers. Let me repeat that. 7 of the 8 homeowners at Rice's are single mothers. And I don't think people really understand what the administration is doing when we are trying to provide affordable homes for our residents and nationals of Nevis. Because if it weren't for this program by the Nevis Housing and Land Development Corporation, many of these single mothers and other persons who own homes would not have been able to own homes. These homes are heavily subsidized by the Nevis Housing and Land Development Corporation, heavily subsidized by the Nevis Island Administration. And if they were not so heavily subsidized, some of these single mothers would not have been able to own their own homes. I had a conversation just recently with someone, and the person was saying how happy she was for one of the homeowners in particular, who is a single mother and would have recently lost their mother as well. And so we in the administration, we in the Nevis Housing and Land Development Corporation, we are building these homes at a loss to us, but at a gain to our people on the island of Nevis. Let me repeat that. We're building these homes at a loss to us because they're heavily subsidized, but at a gain to the people of Nevis. And so we would have done this small project in Rice's, and I'm proud to say again that very shortly, this year, we will be breaking ground for another development in the New River area. Some of the land has already been subdivided. We now have 20 lots approved by planning, and that will be phase 1. We will be able to do another phase. And so I'm asking our young people to take advantage, to apply. I have to say, though, that we always get more applications than we can deliver homes. So we ask you to be patient with us. We are trying our utmost to ensure that people can get a home, can own their own home, can own a piece of the rock. And of course, that is what this administration is all about. It's a people-centered administration. And as we often say, people matter most. And that is what has been happening in these developments. I think I want to stay there for now because I think my time has expired. But I just wanted to highlight those 3 particular areas in terms of development in Gingerland, in education, in agriculture, and in housing. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Eric Evelyn. We now move to the Premier, the Honorable Mark A.G. Brantley, for his presentation.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening to the good people of Gingerland, those who have gathered here, and those who have come from other parts as well. I often smile when I'm next to my cousin, Eric Evelyn, because he talks about Gingerland as if he is the only person at the table from Gingerland. I need to remind him that I too was born just up the road, a place called Scarborough. Not you Scarborough, but a different Scarborough. So I'm happy to be here. I always feel like I'm at home when I'm in Gingerland, and certainly I'm happy that this is the 4th now town hall meeting that we're having as a government, and we're very pleased. This is an exercise in democracy. This is an exercise in us as government coming to the people. Oftentimes our people say it's difficult for them to reach to our offices if they have issues, so we've said, you know what, let us come into the communities. Let us come to these community centers, and this is the first wave of these meetings. We hope that we'll be able to have them periodically to allow our people an opportunity to see us in their communities and to bring your questions and concerns and to share your views and opinions. We are here to update you, but we're also here to listen to you. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I wanted to speak briefly in the time allotted on the issue of the Mango Festival. The Mango Festival, I feel very proud of that. I feel very invested because it was one of the innovations that I introduced as the Minister of Tourism. And certainly this government has worked hard. This year we celebrated 11 years of that Mango Festival. And most of us love mangoes. I can't say all, but most of us love mangoes. And Nevis has, we are told, over 40 varieties. And so it was a natural step, if you will, to use our mango as the basis for a food festival. That food festival has really taken root and has now become a very well-known festival within our region. And there are many, I know, who criticize a lot of what we are seeking to do. But as they say, data doesn't lie, numbers don't lie. And so I was very pleased, and I'm pleased to inform you, that this year, in terms of attendance at the Mango Festival, we had 4,173 persons at the festival this year. That compares to 2,536 persons last year. So we're talking about an increase of 1,637 people, or 65% in terms of attendance. Those are hard numbers. In terms of ticket sales, because we recognize that, of course, not everyone would have purchased a ticket, but we sold over 3,800 tickets for the Mango Festival this year. Some years ago, we built the water taxi facility at Wally. And again, there was a noise from some quarters about that facility. I believe, ladies and gentlemen, that we can now, with the benefit of hindsight, say that that Wally water taxi facility has revolutionized travel between St. Kitts and Nevis. I don't think there's any other word I could use, but it has revolutionized travel between St. Kitts and Nevis. The ease and the fact that we've invested in the pier and in the departure area has really made it a convenient way for our people to get to and fro, and visitors to get to and fro. Last week before, we had the St. Kitts Music Festival. And you may well ask, why is the NIA talking about the St. Kitts Music Festival? But it's a festival that we support in great numbers from the island of Nevis. And we had some 13,762 crossings over the music festival weekend. Nevis to St. Kitts and back, people going for the festival. We had 8,076 crossings from the Wally Water Taxi Facility and 5,686 crossings from Charlestown. So you can see that the Wally Water Taxi Facility is outstripping, in terms of its use, the Charlestown ferry terminal. Going to the Mango Fest that we just concluded, July 3rd to 7th, we had 11,904 crossings back and forth on the boats between St. Kitts and Nevis for the Mango Festival weekend. 11,904, and of those, 7,719 crossed to and from Wally, and 4,185 crossed to and from Charlestown. That compares, ladies and gentlemen, to 2024, where for the Mango Festival we had 9,127 crossings. The difference, therefore, this year is that we're 30% more than we did in 2024. Now, these numbers are important because, just on my rudimentary math, if I looked at $30 EC per crossing, I'm told that's a good average to use. We're talking about a spend of almost $400,000 in the weekend just on ferry, just on the fares at the ferry. We have not yet included our taxis, we have not yet included the makeup, we have not yet included the nail techs, we have not yet included the outfits, we've not yet included any of those things. And of course, we've not yet included the tickets to get you into the Mango Fest. I say that because, and we've not included the hotels, we've not included the restaurants, the car rentals, and the like. I say all that because I think it's important that our people recognize that these events, these policies that lead to these events, aren't happenstance. They're not being done in some random fashion. It's not try a thing. These are policies that are carefully thought out and that are nurtured and developed so that they can pay dividends for our people. Just today, and I'm sure most of you here might have seen it, but one of the persons who came into Nevis as an influencer is actually a Fox News reporter. And she was on air today in the Philadelphia area and spoke for over 5 minutes of her experience here in Nevis. We can't afford to pay for that kind of publicity. That would have reached potentially millions of people in the United States, in the Philadelphia area, and the surrounding environs. I think she told me that her program reaches Philly, New Jersey. Those are the main markets. So again, we are seeing. And what is the Mango Festival about? It's really about us. It's an opportunity for the chefs, the local chefs, to showcase what they can do. Each year we have anywhere between 40 and 50 local chefs who are there at the park showcasing their culinary skills. I want to, ladies and gentlemen, emphasize that the movements that I'm talking about of people do not include the Seabridge or the I-Connect. So I'm only talking about those that we can count from Orly and from Charlestown. So if people travel in their car via the Seabridge or I-Connect, those are not in these numbers. So you realize then that the numbers are significantly higher than what I've reported to you. Now, why do I mention these numbers? It's because when we invested in the pier at Orly, and again, I want to, as my colleague before me did, thank the Honorable Alexis Jeffers, who's here with us. He spearheaded that project for the government. When we invested in that pier, it is because we had a plan. It is because we recognized that there was a water taxi business that was developing that was 100% Nevision owned and 100% centered in Nevis. And we decided to spend that money to support the growth and development of the water taxi industry. I use the word industry because I think it is fair to say now that it has become an industry. All of us who use that facility go over, we see what? Young men and women captaining the boats, getting their certification, passengers using it back and forth. We see all the allied services, the taxis now parked there, people moving freely. We see the employment that has been created by that facility. We see the growth in the number of boats. Every so often you see the operators bringing in more boats. What does that tell us? It tells us that they see that there's business. We have different companies over there. And that, again, is a forward-thinking step. It is looking down the line, and that's what governments are supposed to do. Try to come up with policies that have long-term benefits for our people. So every job that has been created over there, every passenger that uses that facility, that's a result of the long-term strategic planning of this government and our efforts in that regard. You look at our sister St. Kitts on the other side, they have not invested anything in terms of water taxi. They may well argue that none of them own any water taxi. It's all based in Nevis. Every boat that goes out of Wally comes home at night to sleep in Nevis, if boats do sleep. So the reality is that as a government, we've invested in something homegrown that has flourished and that is now moving between 11,000 people for Mango Fest, 13,000 for Music Fest, back and forth. And that, I think, ladies and gentlemen, is very significant. I will say one last point before I yield back to the chair and take your questions. I was in the Parliament in St. Kitts today, and the Honorable Congress Maynard was updating the Parliament on efforts being made in St. Kitts. And the Honorable Congress Maynard made a statement that stuck with me. He said that in St. Kitts they're building a desalination plant in Bastia that will ultimately allow, in his words, the people of Bastia, not the people of St. Kitts, the people of Bastia, to get water 24 hours a day for the first time in 10 to 15 years. That would happen. I hope those listening hear me, that in St. Kitts, the minister reported today to the parliament that they're building a desalination plant. And when they're finished, that for the first time in anywhere between 10 to 15 years, the people of Bastia will finally have water 24 hours a day. He didn't mention the rest of St. Kitts. That's only Bastia. And when he made the comment, it struck me that Nevis has gone nearly 10 years or more now. We have solved those problems. Minister Brand is here. I want to commend him because he has led the charge in that regard. But it just speaks to what we have done, the efforts we have made in a sustainable way. And it is true that sometimes our people just say, man, what's that? Because they get accustomed to it. But just make a call to your brother or sister, your cousin in Bastia. And you realize that what we are accustomed to in Nevis, you hear what the minister said today? When he finished, it will be the first time in 10 to 15 years that St. Kitts people get water 24 hours a day. Well, let me correct that. Bastia people. Because he went on to explain that Keon and other areas might still not have that. So what we are in Nevis taking for granted, we say, but it's an everyday thing. If water goes off 1 hour in Nevis, now everybody starts to call the radio station. They start to get on Facebook because we have gone past that. And I can't help but inject a little politics because at the end of the day, I'm a politician. And when I heard the comment today, I said, in the 10 to 15 years that Congress is talking about, the island of St. Kitts benefited from somewhere close to $4 billion in CBI money. But them not got no water. Nevis, which got some crumbs, everybody was asking Mark Brantley, what you do with the money? Where you spend the money on? You waste money. My colleagues tease me all the time. They call me a bad spender. But if I'm a bad spender and I'm spending on water, I'm spending on electricity, I'm spending on roads, I'm making sure during COVID that our public servants were paid on time and in full every month when we had no income coming in because the hotel sector was closed down. If that is bad spending, then I put up my hand and I say, mea culpa. I spent bad, but Nevis people got water 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And today the minister in St. Kitts is saying that if he get this plant done, it will be the first time in 10 to 15 years that the people of Bastia will have that privilege. I say these things because I want our people to start to understand that when you have government that is making long-term strategic decisions for the benefit of our people, the sustainability of our communities, then that is exactly what this government is seeking to do. It may not always be up in headlights, and we take our fair share of criticism, but I think the evidence is irrefutable. So thank you, and I yield my time.
Thank you very much, Honorable Premier. Now, we want to urge all of you here to ask your question as early as possible, and I say that because a number of questions has been coming in online, so I prefer to give you here present the priority. So the floor is now open for questions. Please feel free to ask your questions. The mic is right behind there. If not, in the meantime, I'll go to the online until... Oh, there's somebody. Okay.
Hello, good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
My name is Bjorn, and I have one question for the area representative, Eric Evelyn. Mr. Evelyn, can you give us the update on the poultry chicken farm at Webb's Ground? And you mentioned Indian Castle Farm project. My understanding is that that project started off being successful, but since Mr. King left, that farm would have produced very little, or for the past 2 open days, it has not been producing any crops. Can you give us some numbers about how many crops are being produced down there, and if that information is accurate? Some years ago, the Gingerland Health Center down at the main road in Gingerland was transferred up to the community center at hard times. Can you give me an update on that project, if the health center would be built anytime in the near future? Also, some years ago, the Gingerland Public Library and Post Office Crony House has been abandoned for several years. Can you give an update on that as well? In 2022, the lights at the Hard Times playing field and the Gingerland Hard Court was installed, but they have never been turned on. Can you give an update on the lights at Hard Times playing field? And
Mr. Hanley, that's enough question for now, Mr. Hanley. You could try and come back later. Give somebody else. Give Mr.
And the Gingerland Public Market, the roof is falling off. Can you give an
Mr.
update
Hanley?
on that?
Mr. Hanley, please. You can come back with more questions after, but give the minister a chance to answer and then give somebody a chance to.
One single more update on the cattle farm and the horse racing track at Indian Castle. Some years ago, Aman Hotel was supposed to come. That is why the cattle at Indian Castle was let loose. And can you give an update on the Aman Hotel that is supposed to come? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Hanley. You did got up that you're going to ask one question, but you have asked a plethora of questions, which I'll try my best. As a matter of fact, because you said you were going to ask one, I didn't begin to write. But then after you were asking so many, I had to start to jot down the questions. And so I'm going to try to attempt those that I was able to jot down. You asked about the health center in Gingerland. Yes, the health center was moved because we had to do some work at the health center in Gingerland. And you asked about an update on the project. There's no particular project. We know we did commit to relocating the center back there, but at the same time, we must recognize that the center was relocated to Hard Times. And I actually had a conversation like this with someone only recently, and the person admitted to me that the services of the health center are just as good or even better at that location. And the fact is that the health center, where the health center was relocated to, is practically just a stone throw away from its original location. So yes, there are plans to bring it back to its original location, but the fact is that the services provided by the Gingerland Health Center remain the same and are even better. The public library, I think I'm going to defer that to the Minister of Education to deal with that. You spoke about the Indian Castle Farm, which I spoke about as well, and you said your information suggested that production had reduced there. Your information is wrong. Production is continuing there at the Indian Castle Farm, and since that farm was instituted, we have had production and we've had produce from that farm at every agricultural exhibition. You spoke about the Hard Times playing field as well. Yes, we are aware that we did erect some lights at the Hard Times playing field, and yes, the lights have not been on as yet. We do have a problem on the island right now, and I think it's an island-wide problem where we have some issues with transformers. The lights at the Hard Times playing field cannot be turned on unless we have a transformer up in that area. apparently there's a worldwide shortage of transformers, and so we are trying our utmost to get that sorted out. And as soon as we can access the transformers, the lights at the Hard Times playing field will be on. You spoke about the public market. This administration has made a commitment to refurbish the Gingerland public market. That commitment is still with the administration. We have not been able to source the funds as yet, but I think I can commit at this table and at this town hall this evening that some work on the Gingerland public market will be done during this current term of the administration. And you did ask about the poultry project as well. Actually, I was waiting until I go to Charlestown on Sunday to give this update, but since you asked now, I can say that yes, we have been speaking a lot about the poultry industry on the island of Nevis, in particular the broiler industry, and we know that we here on Nevis consume a lot of chicken. And because we consume so much chicken, and practically, well, not all, but most of it is imported from overseas, and we have made strides in terms of trying to organize a poultry or broiler industry on the island. I know we have spoken about it for some time now, and I'm proud and I'm happy to indicate that in terms of the poultry processing facility, work on the ground will start as early as next week in the Prospect area. And so we are, and I must say kudos and thanks to my cabinet colleague, the Honorable Spencer Brand. He has assisted tremendously in getting over the line with this project. And so we will be actually getting started on the ground with the work on the poultry processing plant very shortly. Thank you very much.
Good evening. To answer the question on the public library, we do have some prepared plans for refurbishing of the public library, but of course, you know, that there will be budgetary issues. So as soon as we can secure the funding to deal with that, then we would want to do that. In terms of the court, I know Minister Evelyn did answer a bit on the court, but we do intend to do some upgrades to the court at Gingerland, and as Minister Evelyn rightfully said, the lights have been erected and so on, but there's an issue with transformers. There's a whole big shortage with transformers. As you know, in Nevis, we would order those large transformers through Nevlec, and in doing the project, the wiring and so on would have been done. But it has been very difficult to get transformers on island. And as you know, we continue to expand here in Nevis. So when Nevlec do get their hands on a transformer, there are other areas that are a priority that they have to use the transformers for. So it's not only this basketball court in Gingerland that we are waiting for transformers for. In fact, I can speak a little bit about Charlestown Secondary School, where we recently had to do some, what I would call gymnastics with the electricity there, because we are waiting on some larger transformers, because since the whole area has been developed so much, Culturama and so on is pulling a lot more power than they used to in the past. These areas are in need of bigger transformers, and getting transformers on Nevis has been a big problem, especially after COVID. Something would have gone wrong with the securing of transformers and so on. And so it's been very, very difficult. And it's not just a problem for us here in Nevis, it's a problem regionally with the transformers.
Thank you, Honorable Troy Lightwood. Are there any more questions on the floor? Yes?
Good night. My name is Elmer Grant. I live at Fenton Hill. I have two issues. Since the renovation of the main road in River Path, I have an issue with the water coming into my yard. I spoke to Mr. Williams, I spoke to Danny about the water coming to my yard, and to this day, still having the same problem, okay? I had some materials in my yard, some sand, some gravels to do some work. They are no longer there. The water from the main road come to my yard and wash away all those materials I had to do my work, right? I can't see the ministers. I try to do the correct thing. I come up the ladder. Spoke to Danny. Spoke to Williams. I come here tonight now to see what you guys can do for me. It's been over 10 years. I have my house at Fentanyl for over 20 years, and I never see a flood until that road was renovated. It was about 2 inches away from water coming on my porch. There in Fentanyl. Another issue I have, the same house at Fentanyl, I don't live there. And you guys charging me for garbage collection. Mr. Premier, solid waste ain't give me no kind of device to collect my garbage, right? So I'm thinking to myself, it's not fair for me or anybody else to be paying for a service that I do not use. Nevlec, I have a meter for Nevlec. I could pay the rent for the meter. Flow, they give me a modem. I pay rent for the modem. Water department, give me a meter. Solid waste don't give me anything. I have to provide my own container for the garbage collection, and I don't live there. For the past, since 2017, I don't live at my house. And you guys charge me $25 every month for service that I do not use. I'm not the only person. It's not fair. I go and I pay my water bill every month, but I don't pay the solid waste because I don't provide the service to me. That truck don't stop at my gate, so I don't know why you guys charging me and others. I know you guys have the power to do things, so you guys have the power to take them back also. I have some renovations to do at my house. I don't have any water because water department went and cut off the water because they say I'm not paying for the solid waste collection. So how am I going to do my reservation? Plus, I can't even do the work because the materials I had there, the water washing away. So I come to you guys tonight to find out what you guys could do for me because I'm a division also.
Okay, Mr. Grant, thank you for your questions. The road work that you're talking about, you said was 10 years ago? Okay, but I don't recall we did road work there 10 years ago. Mm-hmm. No, I'm just curious because you're saying it's 10 years. So that's why I'm wondering, you know, it's been a long time. Okay, all right. So, okay, all right. So I'm happy that you've come and you've raised your concerns because that's exactly why we're having these town hall meetings. It's interesting you say you can't get to who you want to get to. So you've come here. And that reinforces the point I started out with by saying sometimes people say it's difficult to see, so we've come into the community. So thank you, first of all, for coming. You have some concerns. Minister Brand is here. I see him writing feverishly. We will have to come and take a look and try to determine, because at the end of the buck stops with him as the minister with responsibility for works. So I will leave that to him. Mr. Brand, if you can get the details from Mr. Grant. However, I want to talk about this garbage collection. I understand what you're saying, and you're framing it about fairness. Collecting garbage is a health issue. You say that your house isn't occupied, and therefore you're not generating garbage there, and so you shouldn't pay. But if garbage collects in your area and is not collected, it festers, it leads to health issues for all of us. The cost of collecting garbage on Nevis is currently somewhere in the region of 83 cents a day. 83 EC cents a day. That's the $25 a month. That's what it works out to. For most people, that constitutes 2 to 3 collections a week from their home. The argument that you're making, Mr. Grant, sounds good because people say, well, I'm not getting the service, but I say to you that you are getting the service. Because if this island becomes unclean, you and I are susceptible to disease, to rodents, to all the things that garbage brings, to smell, to the stench. To put differently, it's like somebody say, well, I shouldn't pay any tax because I don't have a car, I'm not driving on the road, or I shouldn't pay because I don't go to the hospital, I'm not sick. There are some charges that are levied on as wide a group as possible because of the public good that is paying for. So even though you and may not be generating any garbage at that location, if the garbage isn't collected in that area, it has the potential to impact you and impact the rest of us. So what we have tried to do in terms of garbage collection was to find a way to spread the cost across the population in a way that is equitable, in a way that allows all of us to benefit, because all of us, every single person on this island benefits from a clean island. Every single one of us. The Minister of Health is here. Mosquitoes, vectors, rodents, stench. Our island is based on tourism. You say you don't benefit from collecting garbage. How many tourists you think would be happy being in Nevis if the place filled with garbage all across the island? And if each of us start to say, well, I didn't put no garbage there, so it's not my responsibility to help pay for it, what's going to happen to the island? So it is a genuine point you've raised, but I've been trying to explain, because people reach as far as my office to tell me it's not fair because they don't generate garbage or they don't generate enough garbage, or the arguments come. But it's not so much a user fee as it is an effort to say to our population that we have to find a way not to pay for, because the truth is that 83 cents a day can't pay for garbage collection. What we're seeking to do is to say, can we get some funds to come in to subsidize the collection and disposal of garbage around the island? And I really want our people to see this as a public good, to see this as a resource, a service, that benefits the general public. Because if you were to leave Fenton Hill and you went over to Market Shop, and Market Shop piled high with garbage, mosquito, rat, stench, what's the argument going to be? Well, I didn't generate any of that, and therefore I'm not responsible. This, for me, is part and parcel of being a member of the community and contributing to a good, something that is necessary for the health and wellness of the entire community. And I don't know how else to explain it. Some people may generate no garbage, some people may generate more garbage, but we are asking those who can to contribute to ensuring that this island remains healthy. And so that is the argument. And if we were to start to say to people, well, if you don't generate any garbage, you don't have to pay, then we have to go and do an entire survey around the island to see who generating and who not generating. And then you get down to the question, well, if I only generate a little bit, maybe I shouldn't have to pay the whole 25, and then you go now with another survey, and then somebody will say, well, I generate 6 months out of the year, but not the next 6 months. So you go through another survey. So we have just adopted a measure, and as I said, and I want to emphasize, 83 cents a day. That's what we are paying from households to try and keep Nevis clean and keep Nevis healthy. So, Mr. Grant, that's the best way I could answer you. I'm sorry? Well, Mr.
Please conduct yourself nicely. Do it properly. Okay.
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 Mr. Grant, we heard you. You've repeated the same point. All I'm saying is that I've tried to explain to you. Well, I hear you. I understand. You're not satisfied with the explanation because as far as you're concerned, you're not supposed to pay. I am saying to you that on a healthy island is going to affect you and affect everybody else. Your children that are going to school, your friends and family, and all of us. It is a subsidy that we're asking people to contribute to ensure that we keep the island clean and we keep the island healthy. And a healthy island and a clean island benefits all of us. That's all I'm saying. Whether you accept it or not accept it is your right. I'm just trying to explain to you that that is the thinking. That's all. Sure.
Could you get the mic, please?
Where's the mic for Mr. Grant?
Like I said before, solid waste does not provide no containers for us in Nevis. But solid waste discharge our containers. I have a metal drum, and every morning I hear when the drum hit the ground, right? When I come outside, I got to put back the drum up to stand up. If there's loose garbage, the so-called solid waste people who are paying $25 for every month, they don't pick them up. Now, you guys ban plastic. So what are we supposed to do with the garbage now? Those small plastic bags that we used to get from the supermarket, you used to use them as garbage collection.
Well, I understand that, but the garbage bags are not banned. It's just the single-use plastic bags that are currently banned.
I'm a single person. I didn't want a big bag.
So we must have a policy for you because you're a single person and you don't want a paper bag?
Mr. Brantley, you're too smart. I'm not the only single person on the island.
No, but I'm trying to understand the point you're making, legitimately.
I just told you when there's garbage in the bin and it's not in a bag, they don't want to pick up the garbage.
Mm-hmm.
Right? They leave the garbage. And I'm paying for the service. So what am I supposed to do? Get a big bag and keep it until you get all full right up, as you just talk about disease?
So, Mr. Grant, you're asking me, because you see, the government makes policy. And it's difficult to say that I'm making a policy for Mr. Grant. The government makes general policies. It is extremely difficult for us to go to each household and each individual and say, are you single? Are you married? You got people in your house? You don't have people in your house? And then make a policy according to that. The government makes policy. If tomorrow, for example, your house were to become occupied, you would expect that your garbage is collected. So it's almost the same, well, okay, if people have a home that is not occupied, we are levying the charge because I think the charge is levied based on the water meter, if I recall correctly. So if you have a water connection, then the charge is levied on the water meters. That the idea was to try and spread it across homes, across individuals who have homes. I understand the anxiety, I understand you're not happy about it, but I'm trying my best to explain the thinking behind the policy. And I think that the idea that as an individual, I don't get any benefit from solid waste, I don't think you're right. You may, and I may go back and forth on this all night, but I don't think you're right, because a clean island benefits you. It benefits me. It benefits everybody who's sitting here tonight. It keeps us healthy. It prevents us from having an island that is overrun by garbage and overrun by trash. And that's the work that the people at Solid Waste are trying to do. Now, are they perfect? No. Sometimes, Mr. Grant, I come out of my house, I meet my bin, you know, and you know, the guys, them obviously didn't take time to deal with it as they should. So I hear you on that, but that's a different point. So can we ask Solid Waste to do a better job? Yes. But the question of how do we, and you know, I would want to put it back in your court in a way, because I'm not saying government has all the answers. We're here to listen. how would you then say to us, we ought to help to pay to collect garbage on the island? Should we levy a tax on people, everybody? Pay a tax? Because the service has to be paid for. And currently, as I said, at $25 a month, it works out to 83 cents a day. Well, and the Minister of Health is here. She's saying it's not just the collection, it's also the management. We have to manage the landfill. We have to do all of the things that are associated with garbage. We are currently going to be instituting a white goods and vehicle cleanup of the island, right? So what are people going to say? Well, I don't have no abandoned cars. Maintenance of the trucks, all the expenses, salaries, wages of the workers. So we're about to do a cleanup of cars. I'm sure you drive around, you see that we have a lot of abandoned cars all around the island. It's an eyesore, it's a health risk. The police tell us that these cars, people use them to hide contraband, to hide weapons and that kind of thing. So by the same argument that you're making, I could say, well, me got an abandoned car, so there's no benefit to me if you clean up the cars. But the weapon that's hidden in the car might be the weapon used to rob you. The contraband that's hidden in the car might be the contraband used to give to your child. So I want our people to look at development, look at the society and the community, and the individualism. Well, this doesn't affect me, so I shouldn't have to do this and I shouldn't have to do that. And I'm saying, no, there's a community, there's a common good that benefits everybody. It benefits all of us. Better water benefits everybody. Better electricity benefits everybody. Better roads, better health care, better education. It's like a man say, well, I shouldn't have to pay no tax because I don't have no children in school. But an educated society benefits all of us. So we have to get to a point where we are willing to contribute for the benefits of living in a society that has all of that. And garbage collection, keeping our island clean, is beneficial to everybody. The plastic ban I heard you about, and I understand the point you're making, but that again was intended because all the studies were showing that the level of plastics we were generating, they get to the sea, they get into the fish life and the marine life. You now eat a piece of fish, you're eating plastic. What's the impact on you then in terms of your health? So we're trying. Is it perfect? I'm not going to sit down here and pretend and tell you, well, it's perfect. But I'm just trying to explain to you that these are sometimes the difficult decisions that government has to grapple with as we try our very best to say, how do we deliver these services to the people of Nevis? How do we deliver them? How do we keep our island clean? And that is what we've come up with. If, as I said, you have an alternative suggestion, I am more than willing, Mr. Grant, to listen to see how we can pay for some of the services that we have to deliver, not want to, or maybe, but have to deliver. And keeping our island clean is a priority. It has to happen because our health depends on it. So my answer may not be the answer you want or the satisfactory answer to you. I hope you asked two questions. The second one you say you didn't get any satisfaction, that's the $25, but the first one on the flooding, I'm hoping Mr. Brand will ensure that you get some satisfaction on that one. And that's the best I could do, Mr. Grant. So thank you for the question, and I've tried my best to answer you.
Thank you very much, Honorable. Are there any more questions? 1 second.
I just wanted to follow up just quickly with regards to what Mr. Grant said as well. There's a comment that he made, and I think it's a little bit unfortunate and unfair. He said the so-called solid waste folks. Now, I know a lot of the time, sometimes homeowners are not pleased with the way the garbage collectors treat their receptacles and so on. But we have to try as much as possible to respect our garbage collectors and respect the folks at solid waste. They are doing a tremendous job in keeping this island clean and healthy. I think, and it goes back to what the Premier would have said earlier, I believe most of the times we take things for granted. I don't think we understand that the collection that we have in Nevis, it's better than most of the other Caribbean islands. I know there are times when I see garbage being collected in my area twice per week, sometimes even 3 times per week. Where else you find that happening? There's some islands where you actually have to take your garbage to certain areas and then the truck will come and collect. And so we should at all times try to respect the garbage collectors, because as the Premier said, if the garbage is not collected, we are going to have an unhealthy situation. And so we must at all times try to respect those garbage collectors. Got up all odd hours in the morning, and we have to try as much as possible to support what they're doing, because they're supporting having a clean and healthy island.
Wait,
yeah, she had a hand, this lady.
Guy had the mic right there.
Where's the mic?
Well, I shouldn't say my question. Is it on? Okay, good. Good night, everyone. When Mr. Hanley asked his series of questions, Minister Evelyn, with regards to the health center, your answer seemed to imply that where the health center is now is a permanent home?
I never implied that. I said that the intention is to go back to the original home. I did say that.
Oh, you did?
I
okay, did. Okay. Because it sounded, the answer sounded like the services where it is now are better, and it sounded like everything is so great. So it gave me the impression that that was the new home
no, I did say
of
that
the health center.
We will go back to the original home.
Okay. My misunderstanding, like I said, it implied. The other concern I have, Mr. Evelyn, to my knowledge, you live in the Rice's area. I don't know. There are two roads that I'm aware of that leads to Rice's, coming off of Hanley's Road and also coming down Matchman's. I don't know which one of the routes you normally take, but I can tell you the route coming down Matchman's needs to be looked after. The road is getting narrower and narrower and narrower, and every time I drive down there, I say the minister lives just a stone throw away. And so that is something that I would beg that you look after. The trees are coming over the road, all the stones on the side falling off. It needs to be addressed. That's just one of the many things that needs attention in the St. George's area. For many, many years, we in St. George cry, we always get left for last. So I'm asking for you to please look after Rice's, especially since you live in that area. Now going down to the Atlantic coast, I go down there often. I love, my favorite view of the Nevis Peak is from the Atlantic Ocean down here. It's the only area that you can see the mountain as a perfect cone. And I think it's so very beautiful. I often go down there. I do a little line fishing, and I do that for fun. It's not a part of my livelihood, but I know we are a fishing village here in Hanley's Road. And I wish that there were more of our fishermen here tonight. But I've heard a lot of talk about the Atlantic coast from Brown Hill or wherever all the way to Butler's that is being sold. Persons from this village have been phoned and called about selling their property in the area. And it is rumored to be that it's going to be an area where eventually I'm not going to be able to go and do my line fishing. The fishermen are not going to be able to push off their boats from our coastline in this area. So I just wanted to get some clarity. I don't know who to direct it to directly at the head table, but if you could tell us at Hanley's Road, please, a fishing village which some people's livelihood depend on being able to go out to sea with their boats, what is going on as far as all the talk we hear about this becoming a private country within a country, an enclave, the lands are being bought, etc., etc. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your questions and concerns. With regards to the Rices and the Matchman's Road, yes, I am aware that those roads need to get some work, but we have to recognize, and I think practically at all the town halls, we're going to get questions about roads. I could recall when we were at St. James's, I recall one person from Butler's asked about a lot of secondary roads. And even today, myself and the Premier were at a funeral, and someone from Bath Village would have attacked him again about the secondary roads. What we have attempted to do as an administration is to try to ensure that the main thoroughfare of the village is properly done. And I don't think any of us who drive on Hanley's Road could say that the main thoroughfare of Hanley's Road is not an excellent piece of road. Yes, we are aware that there some work needs to be done on the secondary roads, and we have been looking at all of those, and those will come in time. As a matter of fact, someone from Rice's spoke to me about the Matchman's Road 2 days ago as well. And so it's not that the roads are neglected in any way, but we have tried our utmost to ensure that the main thoroughfare is in good order, in good condition, and then later on, we do the secondary roads. I'm sure Minister Brand would have actually indicated that at one of the town halls as well, that we will need to pivot to start doing some of the secondary roads as well. So it's not that the Matchman's or the Rice's roads have been neglected, but they will be done in due course. I know the Premier wanted to jump in with regard to the second question, but I am not aware, as a resident of Hanley's Road and someone who grew up here as well, I am not aware that the fishermen of Hanley's Road will be displaced in any way from doing their trade at that area.
Thank you very much. Thank you for the question. And the problem we have in our country, I feel, is that we have a lot of pundits who get on radio and get on the internet and engage in their punditry. A lot of opinions. And when they don't have the facts, they make them up. And unfortunately, some of our people listen to that and then start to shape questions and concerns based on stuff that's made up. As a government, we do not own any land, as far as I know, in the area that you have identified. We own Indian Castle, and I believe Mr. Hanley asked a question about Indian Castle, and certainly if and when we have a development at Indian Castle, we will come. Mr. Hanley, incidentally, I had it to answer you. I always try to answer your questions, that the Amman project, if you recall, we would have reported that we severed ties with that developer on Amman. And so the lands at Indian Castle are owned by the government. From Indian Castle going back to Long Point, those are private lands. And so if any of us in this room approaches anybody along that stretch and seeks to negotiate to buy their land, what is the government supposed to do? The issue is you're either going to sell your land or you're not going to sell your land. It's private land. So that's a decision that landowners need to take. I am hearing a lot of hysteria being generated in the country about people buying up land as if it's government that's involved. Government has not been involved because we don't own 1 square foot of land in that area as far as I'm aware. Private individuals are having their conversations. That's a matter for them. If TDC come to you tomorrow and say, can you have 10 acres, I want to buy your 10 acres, you either say yeah or you say nay. How the government get involved in that? So a lot of people, I think, are building up all this chatter and this hysteria. I can tell you that we have had an initial approach by some developers who said they want to do a development along that coast. Nothing formal in terms of a formal submission has come to the cabinet. So as we are sitting here tonight, I cannot say to you in good conscience that we have a project that has come and that is being discussed. We have said to those potential developers, the government doesn't own any land in the area, so if you want to do development that involves land, go and talk to the landowners and see who is willing to sell you their land. Well, so I need to ask the question this way. If you own a piece of land and you decide you're going to sell your land, what do you want the government to do about that? Can we stop you from selling your land? We can't. Can we tell you that who to sell your land to? How much to sell it for? None of those things involve the government. So you have private individuals being approached about whether they're willing to sell their private land, and people cussing the government and saying the government is involved in this and that. We're not involved in anything. You're either going to sell your land or you're not going to sell your land. And it's a matter for you and for private individuals.
I wasn't trying to imply, I hope I didn't imply that the government owned the land. I wasn't saying that the government owned the land. Yes, Mr. Premier, you're correct. If a person wants to sell their land, they can sell their land. However, because you're the Premier, as you say, the buck stops with you. Right? So if all this chatter is going around and it's rumors, then I would say it falls on you to clarify to us who are concerned what's going on, what's really going on. Because even if I own, say, 10 acres of land and I decided to sell it to someone privately, I think government, because you are elected to look out for the interests of the masses of the people, would want to ensure that whatever is going on anywhere on the island doesn't hurt the people. So I asked the question to get clarification, and I think the best place to ask the question is right here. Yes, you can sell your land to whoever you want to sell it to. The government cannot stop you. But then if you're hearing that it's going to become something so private and so exclusive that perhaps, because as you say, it's rumor, perhaps I may not be able to go down there with my grandchild. I may not be able to fish. The boat may not be able to go out. That, to me, then falls on government to make sure it looks out for the people and let us know what's really going on in the area.
Well, I think that's fair, but as you say, you started by saying rumor, and I would be a fool as Premier to sit up here and say I'm responding to every rumor. If I had to deal with every rumor that I hear every day, I would have no time to do the actual work for the people of Nevis. So if you have rumors or you're listening to rumors, I would suggest read the Bible instead.
Maybe it's not a rumor.
Because, I am saying that we as government have no knowledge of what you're speaking because no formal proposal has come to the government. I explained that. So here you are talking about rumors, and you're asking me as Premier to respond to rumors. I say read the Bible, read Genesis. I think it's a far better use of your time.
Mr. Premier, are you confirming that it is a rumor? Are you confirming that it's a rumor and there's no truth to it?
But I don't know. Am I not speaking English? I'm trying my very best to explain that the government has no proposal before it for any development of the kind that you say is rumored. That is what I'm saying. If and when such a thing comes, consistent with our transparent approach, we will definitely come and talk about it.
But we should be concerned, shouldn't we? We should be concerned.
You should be concerned about rumors.
It may not be a rumor. We don't know. The average person, me, the individual in the community, and the reason why we're here tonight, right, is to come to people so you could hear from them. So please don't try to shut me up, okay? I have a right to speak as a Nevisian. I have a right to speak as a Gingerlander. I live in this community, so please calm.
Miss Basley?
My name is not Miss Bazzi. My name is Carlin Lawrence.
Carlin Lawrence,
okay. Miss Bazzi works at Nevis.
We're scheduled to stop at 9 o'clock.
What I am asking for Mr. Scarborough is the Premier, I have to ask here because the average person don't know. We're hearing it, it could be a rumor and it may not be a rumor. And since we want to play games with words, since the real estate agency, right, that is being said to be dealing with the developer is Mrs. Brantley's agency, then I have to ask.
Mrs. Lawrence, if that is some attempt to drag Mrs. Brantley's real estate agency, as you say, into your rumor mongering, then I ask you to desist. Miss Lawrence, hear me out. You asked a question. You have come to the town hall meeting. You have premised a whole debate tonight on some rumor that you say you have been hearing.
I don't know how am I supposed to respond to that. I respond to facts. I respond to situations that we are aware of that are on the ground. I said to you that the government has had no formal proposal setting out any project of the kind that you've described.
But that wasn't my question.
I've said that 3 times. And every time I've told you that you're going back to say what you hear, your rumor, what you hear.
I didn't ask if the government had a proposal before it, you know. I asked to please explain to the people or to shed some light on what we are hearing.
But how can I shed light on what you are hearing?
So you don't know?
I don't even know where you're hearing it from.
Okay, you don't know, and it's unfortunate, Mr. Premier, that you don't know as the leader of the island.
Could you give somebody else the mic, please,
You should know as something
we would have heard what you had to
serious.
say, Ms. Lawrence.
Mr. Scarborough,
please,
something
give somebody
as
else the mic.
Mr. Scarborough, this is a democratic island, we say, right? You don't have to agree with me. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You have commandeered the mic on the basis of a rumor that you have heard. I don't even know, is your neighbors give you the rumor? You heard it on radio? Where did the rumor come from?
We know. I ain't even trying to let you lead me down the road, because all of us know where party comes from.
We have a town hall where the government is seeking to engage with the public. You have insisted on engaging us all night on the basis of what you describe.
Mr. Brantley,
you describe as rumors.
I'm asking if there's any truth to it, because you should know. You're saying there's no proposal before government for development in the area.
Yes.
I accept that. Okay. But then you should know what is happening or what is said to be happening, and then you should be able to shed some light on what is going on. So I was only asking in the interest of the people that to make sure that we are not cut off from being able to use the Atlantic coast, right? And who is offended, I owe no apology to,
so,
right?
Ms. Lawrence, it's not about people.
I want to know, because I want to be able to use the shoreline, so I'm asking.
And if there is any development that we need to engage in with the public, we will. Okay. I have been trying to answer you all night, and no matter how I try to answer, you keep coming back to what you hear.
Okay.
What you've been hearing. I am not in the same circles as you. I don't know what you're hearing.
I
can only respond to what we know as government that has been presented to us, and that is what I can speak to. So if, again, I say, I were to speak to every rumor that this island generates, I would have no time to actually do work.
I understand and I agree. The conclusion to your response then, sir, is that you don't know what is happening, and you don't know anything about what could be happening in that area. Thank you.
You're most welcome. And as I said, when we have information, we will come with that information. In the interim, I want to make it pellucid that those people who are being approached, whether it's by my wife, as you have got up and said, or by anybody else, to buy or sell their private land, that is their business. The government has nothing to do with it. So I should be concerned that private people are buying and selling land? But I don't understand, Mr. Lawrence.
Ladies and gentlemen.
I am just a little curious, Ms. Lawrence, that if you have land and somebody approach you to buy your land, you're going to come to me to tell me I should be concerned. It is your property. Whether you sell it or you don't sell it, it is your business. How would the government get involved in that? But I don't understand.
Mr. Fifield, do you have a question, please? We are running out of time.
Good evening, all. Special good evening to the head tailor. And of course, I want to ask just a few questions. But before I do, I want to commend the CCM-led Nevis Island administration for the job that you are doing. Of course, we know that all would not agree, but you are at the helm, and I know you would endeavor to do your very best. Now, I'm from the Gingerland area, Webb's Ground. Some people would say Zion. And there is a play field that was done some years ago, and we are really appreciative of it. But my concern about the play field is that there's also a bathroom facility that was installed under your watch, Minister Evelyn. And of course, again, we are grateful. But I'm wondering if a pathway could make through the hill to go from the field to the bathroom, over the past few months, there would have been churches and other groups that utilized that field. And he had elderly persons who would have had to walk through the gate, down on the field, to come onto the road, to go straight up to the school, to the bathroom, to use the bathroom. So if, a shorter path could be, made for that purpose, especially for the elderly persons, we would appreciate it greatly. The school, the old Nevis Primary School, it has been abandoned for a number of years now. I'm wondering if something could be done, maybe if it could be transformed into, let's say, a community center. I know some years ago there were talks about, putting on a concrete roof, and that can be utilized as bleachers to what is sporting event on the field. Also in the hillside, there were also talks about digging the hillside and putting in like dressing rooms and to have bleachers and stuff like that. I don't know if that could be looked at some point in time. I want to move on now to the old customs building in Charlestown. And my simple question is, are there any plans for that building in Charlestown? Now, as I speak to Charlestown, we realize also that Charlestown is getting congested. And some years ago, the government would have reclaimed some land in Charlestown, and we all could see the benefit of it. So I'm wondering, at some point in time, if you guys, the Premier and his team, would take that into consideration in terms of reclaiming more land in the Charlestown area. Thank you for accepting my question. Have a good night. May God bless you.
Thank you, Mr. Fifield.
Thank you, Mr. Fifield, for those questions as well. I'm not going to respond to the one about the customs. I get probably the Premier can do that. But regards to the playfield at Zion, thank you for those questions and comments, because yes, some church groups would have utilized the field recently, and I can tell you that I did have questions and concerns from members of those groups who were there, and they had the same concern with regards to access to the bathroom and getting up to the bathroom. And so that is very much on the radar, because as I said, numerous persons would have called from those church groups, and as a matter of fact, they were in high praise of the playfield, because some persons who came there said they didn't realize that the playfield there was in such good condition, right? And that is definitely on the radar with regards to putting a step where the persons who are on the playfield, who are utilizing the playfield, can access the bathroom. Now, with regards to the New River School, I must indicate that there are no immediate plans for the school in terms of putting on a roof. I know at some point in time, there was some talk about, utilizing it as a community center. I think that can still be done, but there is not an immediate plan for there as yet. What I can also say is that over at Hickman's, which is pretty close to Webb's Ground and Zion, some work should be done on that community center shortly by a group from overseas. And so in the meantime, until something is done at Zion, persons from that area who wish to utilize a community center will be able to utilize the one, hopefully soon to be refurbished, community center at Hickman's.
Thank you very much, Mr. Evelyn. Honorable, would you like to respond?
Mr. Fifield, thank you for the question. I can tell you that the issue of the old customs building has been raised time and time again. Mr. Brand is here, and we have been going back and forth because it's in his constituency in Charlestown, but we do not yet have a plan for it in terms of what we would do for it. We have had different opinions expressed. Some have said to knock it down, use the space for parking. Some have said to do a shopping mall, all kinds of things. But we have not yet developed a settled plan for that. As is our custom, whenever we do intend to do something, we will come to the public and we'll have the necessary discussions and consultations in terms of what we intend to do. But as we speak here tonight, I can't tell you that we have a plan for that building. So it will remain until we can develop a plan for it in order for it to be developed. But I think that it's an important building, and it's something that ultimately we will have to find the resources to put to productive use, because currently it is not in productive use. But thank you for the question.
Thank you very much, Honorable. Folks, it's now 9:15. We were scheduled to end at 9 p.m., but because of the late start, we decided to give an extra 15 minutes. Before I go to the head table for their closing remarks, I want to remind folks that the next town hall meeting is scheduled for Sunday, July 13th at the Red Cross building in Charlestown. And that will be the last of all the town hall meetings. This coming Sunday at the Red Cross building in Charlestown. The last of the series, of course. We are going to have more town halls later in October, November. I want now to give the Honorable Troy Liebert the opportunity to give his closing remarks.
Thank you very much, Mr. Scarborough. I think tonight has been a wonderful exercise in democracy. I'm very happy that I'm here in Hanley. As I said at the start, my mother tells me that her mother is from Hanley. So I always enjoy being in Hanley. You know, one thing we didn't speak about when we came here to Hanley is how smooth the driving was coming down here, because I remember some years ago we would have worked really hard to make what used to be, you know, a bumpy ride down into a very smooth ride down into Hanley Road. Of course, I enjoy this type of experience. I enjoy coming up and hearing the questions from folks in the community. I know we won't be able to give all of the answers that people want to hear every single time, but one thing for sure about us is that you can know and you can feel comforted that we are working for and on behalf of the good people of Nevis. It is the people that we work for, and that's the reason why we are here, even this time at night, listening to you. And so even though you don't get all the satisfaction from your question, it's important to know that you have a voice, and we respect that.
Thank you very much. Mr. Evelyn?
Thank you very much, Mr. Scarborough. And I want to also say thanks for those of you who came out to be a part of this town hall this evening. As Minister Liebert said, it's a great opportunity for us to interact with each other, and it shows democracy at work. In my closing comment, I just want to encourage all of us, those of us who are here, those of us who are viewing online, those who are listening by radio, and all of Nevis. I want us all, as Nevisians and residents of this paradise, to try as much as possible to appreciate what we have on this little paradise. I don't think we really understand what we have and what we are enjoying in Nevis when compared to the other islands in the region, you know. I do not think we understand that. And we should appreciate what we have. Because every time I travel to the other Caribbean islands, and when I look at what they have in terms of their infrastructure, and when I look at what little Nevis have with little resources, with limited resources, this administration has done a marvelous job in terms of managing the little resources we have, and in terms of ensuring that the people of Nevis and the people who reside on Nevis are comfortable. And so my little encouragement to all of us is to appreciate what we have on the island of Nevis. Thank you.
Honorable Premier.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's left for me only to say thank you. Thank you to the questions. Thank you to those who posed questions. I agree that the answers may not always have been what you want or what you expected, but as a government, we can only share with you the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. We are here to give you the facts as we know them, the facts as we have them, and it is difficult for us to respond to everything that is being said out there. That is not our role, that's not our job. Our job is to come to the people with facts, with hard information that impacts us and impacts our lives. This is, as was said, an exercise in democracy. It's an exercise in transparent and open government, and we will continue to come to the community to engage with you in your communities, and we urge our people to come out. The next town hall is going to be on Sunday in Charlestown, and we're urging people to come out, ask the questions, ask the hard questions, ask the things that you want to know, and certainly I commit to responding, and all of us commit to responding in a factual way. Facts still matter. And that is what we're seeking to do here, to engage with our public in a way that engenders trust and engenders confidence and gives us an opportunity to exchange factual information with each other. There may be differences of viewpoints, but facts are still the facts. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable. I want to apologize to all the persons online who would have sent in questions. We didn't get a chance to get to the questions because, we ran out of time. But thank you all for coming, and look forward to seeing you on on Sunday night at the Red Cross building at 7 p.m. Thank you all for coming. Good night.
So, Omelwe, thank you. We wanted to come and just to showcase some of what you do. You've been the backbone of the airport for a very long time.
It's nice, nice, nice. Yes.
Welcome to the Nevis Water Department, where our mission is to provide safe and sustainable water to the island of Nevis. Hi, my name is Santania Mills, manager of the Nevis Water Department. The Nevis Water Department has 4 key divisions, including the production division, which is responsible for overseeing electrical maintenance, repairs and equipment installation at all booster stations and production wells.
In observation of World Water Week, we'll be focusing on water production and the different areas within the Nevis Water Department. In the production division, we'll be focusing on how we get groundwater to our primary storage tanks. Installing a pump and a motor inside of a well is the first step in ensuring we could provide potable water. After the pump and the motor is installed inside this well, we have a motor starter that would be used to start the pump and motor to deliver the water to the primary storage tanks. We put the end of this probe inside of the chick water downpipe. Once the probe reaches its water table, the water level indicator would sound to let us know that it has reached. This would let us know what level our water table is at. It is 614 feet.